Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Good morning from Sridham Mayapur, dear devotees. It's 8:10 in the morning here in the Holy Dham. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam every day. This is the teachings of Lord Kapila Dev. We're on chapter number 25, Devotional Service. And today we're going to read text 31, which has no purport, by Srila Prabhupada anyway, and then text 32. Text 31. Maitreya uvacha vidartam kapilo maturitam jata sneho yatra tanva bijata tatvamayam yat pravadanti sankyam pravocha by Bhakti Vitana Yogam. Sri Maitreya said, after hearing the statement of his mother, Kapila could understand her purpose, and he became compassionate towards her because of being born of her body. He described the Sankhya system of philosophy, which is a combination of devotional service and mystic realization, as received by disciplic succession. Gora graganya gana gocha goloruharam Goranga Gudatama Gopyata Kopa Briksham Gopalagada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavaram Satatam Namani Panchakalpadurubhischa Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So mainly we're going to speak today on text number 32, but there's a particular point in this text this text is not commented on directly by Srila Prabhupada. By the way, he gave class on it. But it is commented by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Artavarshini Darshini commentary. And he says there that Kapila Dev replied to his mother. He said that he had affection because he appeared from her body. As the verse says, Tanva abhijata. Because he was born from her body, this is why he spoke to her. Now, this is a very beautiful point to me. Very simple thing, because sometimes devotees, and we become so sophisticated, we think that our parents are Maya, or our previous friends, our previous relatives are all Maya. But here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is pointing out from the verse that it's because he was born from her body that he had affection for her. That's natural. That's human. Right? He should appreciate all the things that she did for him. As one of my teachers told me years ago, he used to say that your mother cleaned your stool when you were a baby. You owe her something. So we'll go on to text 32. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Devanam Gunalinganam Anushravika Karmanam Sattva Evaika Manaso Britti Sattva Viki Tuya Animita Bhagavati Bhakti Siddhir Gariyasi. Lord Kapila said, the senses are the symbolic representations of the demigods, and their natural inclination is to work under the direction of the Vedic injunctions. We'll read some Srila Prabhupada's purport, but I want to jump in and make another little comment here. Prabhupada goes on, he says, as the senses are representatives of the demigods, so the mind is a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's very interesting how in Braj Leela, it said that the Devatas were getting the chance to experience Krishna through the senses of the Brijbasis, the residents of Vrindavan. And they were getting so much ecstasy and happiness from that, whereas usually they don't get such an opportunity. Because the senses are all guided and under the direction of the different devatas. Vayu perceives everything where there's air, and Agni where there's fire, there's also fire in the body, and Indra, etc. So the verse goes on. The mind's natural duty is to serve. This is our topic we want to speak about today primarily, how service is better than salvation. That's the topic we have in front of us today. So the verse says, the mind's natural duty is to serve. When that service spirit is engaged in devotional service to the personality of Godhead without any motive, that is far better even than salvation. Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport, the senses of the living entities are always engaged in some occupation, either in activities prescribed in the injunctions of the Vedas or in material activities. The natural inclination of the senses is to work for something, and the mind is the center of the senses. The mind is actually the leader of the senses, therefore it is called sattva. Similarly, the leader of all the demigods who are engaged in the activities of this material world, the sun god, moon god, Indra, and others, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is stated in the Vedic literatures that the demigods are different limbs of the universal body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our senses are also controlled by different demigods. Our senses are representations of various demigods, and the mind is a representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The senses led by the mind act under the influence of the demigods. When the service is ultimately aimed at the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the senses are in their natural position. The Lord is called Rishikesh. Hey, Anapayani, maybe we should close the glass window. Oh, we turned the AC off?
It doesn't work.
Achha. Okay. The Lord is called Rishikesh, for he's actually the proprietor and ultimate master of the senses. The senses and the mind are naturally inclined to work, but when they're materially contaminated, they work for some material benefit or for the service of the demigods, although actually they're meant to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The senses are called Rishika, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Rishikesh. Indirectly, all the senses are naturally inclined to serve the Supreme Lord. That is called Bhakti. I'll read that sentence again. Indirectly, all the senses are naturally inclined to serve the Supreme Lord. That is called Bhakti. Kapila Dev said that when the senses, without desire for material profit or other selfish motives, are engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is situated in devotional service. That spirit of service is far better than siddhi, salvation. Bhakti, the inclination to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is in a transcendental position far better than mukti or liberation. Thus, bhakti is the stage after liberation. Unless one is liberated, one cannot engage the senses in the service of the Lord. When the senses are engaged either in material activities of sense gratification or in the activities of the Vedic injunctions, there is some motive. But when the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord and there's no motive, that is called animita and is the natural inclination of the mind. The conclusion is that when the mind, without being deviated either by Vedic injunctions or by material activities, is fully engaged in Krishna consciousness or devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is far better than the most aspired for liberation from material entanglement. So Srila Jiva Goswami, in his Krama Sandarbha, he's written about this verse. He also speaks about it in Priti Sandarbha, Anucheta number 61. We're not going to go there. There's so many things today that I want to speak about, which I'm a little excited about. Again, we want to speak something about how service is better than salvation. In his Krama Sandarbha commentary, Srila Jiva Goswami describes that bhakti to the Supreme Lord without material desires, which is composed of actions of the senses to reveal sense objects related to the Lord, which conforms to the instructions of Guru, and with mind dedicated exclusively to the Lord, and which includes actions on the spontaneous level, is superior to liberation. Wow, that is a long sentence with a lot packed into it. Bhakti should conform to the Guru's instructions, otherwise it's just mental speculation. Bhakti means anukulyena krishnanu, that is dedicated exclusively for the pleasure of the Lord. And as Jiva Goswami says here, when it includes actions on the spontaneous level, is superior to liberation. So in his purport, in his comments on this verse in Priti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami quotes the verse we were speaking on previously, Satam prasangam mamavirya samvido bhavanti hritkarna visayana kata tajjosanat asapavargavartmani shraddha ratir bhaktir anukramishati, that there's a krama or a sequence in the stages of bhakti which goes from faith to taste, rati, to pure bhakti, which our acharyas have described correspond to Vaidhi Bhakti, Bhav Bhakti, and then Prem Bhakti. So in Priti Sandarbha, when Jiva Goswami speaks about bhakti, which is performed according to Vaidhi Bhakti, he says, first of all, that bhakti is not an action of the senses which act on their own, but it's action of the senses according to the mantra given by Guru. That's a very beautiful thing. It's action of the senses according to the mantra given by Guru. And what does that mean? That means that that mantra that we chant will pervade our entire being and will overcome those senses, as described in Padma Purana, Tasri Krishna Namadi, Nabhaved Graimindre. We can't perform bhakti on our own, but Sevanmukhi Jiva Do, when we render service, beginning with the tongue, and hello, folks, the tongue is one of the senses according to Vedic philosophy, so that doesn't make sense. But when we render service with the tongue, but the tongue is one of the senses which can't perceive bhakti, but our acharyas have explained that when we render service to Guru, who is a manifestation of Krishna, with that mantra, Tate Krishna Bhaji Kori Guru Sevan, as described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that our Krishna Bhajan, that's actually our Guru Seva. We're doing Krishna Bhajan for the pleasure of Guru. So, but Jiva Goswami in Priti Sandarbha, when he speaks about this verse today, he says that bhakti is not an action of the senses which act on their own, but it's the action of the senses which act according to the mantra given by Guru. When we begin to chant that mantra will overcome our senses. As Srila Rupa Goswami describes, all the senses become inert by this chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, that by beginning from hearing. And Jiva Goswami goes on to say the senses should have daily actions in accordance with the mantra concerning the Lord given by Guru. And he calls this Anushravika Karmanam. The senses should have daily actions in accordance with the mantra concerning the Lord given by the Guru. That means all the senses. And Jiva Goswami gives a very astonishing explanation about this. He quotes a verse from the Vishnu's Rahasya to show how it is that all the senses should be engaged. All the senses should be engaged in accordance with the mantra concerning the Lord, which is given by Guru. So the verse describes, Utsargan malamutra desh chitta swastyam yato bhavet atapayur upastascha tad aradhana sadhanam. He says, because the mind maintains a healthy state, the mind is peaceful by proper excretion of urine and stool. If you don't pass urine and stool regularly, your mind becomes very, very disturbed, right? So therefore, the anus and the urinary organ should be considered as senses engaged in the Lord's service.
Say that again.
Krishna Kun says, say that again? A very amazing thing. Because the mind is only peaceful, it maintains a healthy state. When you pass urine and stool, you feel, when you get old and you can't pass urine and stool, it's a great anxiety. Therefore, he says, the anus and the urinary organ should be considered as senses engaged in the Lord's service. So when we're next time doing our business in the bathroom, we can address our organs, our lower organs. My dear lower organ, you're doing service for Krishna right now, for the mind, because without this service, my mind won't be peaceful and I won't be able to chant properly. So Jiva Goswami says, therefore, even these organs, by functioning in relationship to bhakti, are to be considered part of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Even the anus and the urinary tract, they're also considered to be part of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Therefore, this is the superiority of bhakti. Everything is engaged. And then Jiva Goswami, he goes on to speak about how there's a higher form of bhakti, which is spontaneous. And when the bhakti is performed with the natural function, sabhavika vritti, which is described in this verse today, of the senses, he says that's better than liberation. That's an amazing statement. And let's contemplate that for a moment. That when we're engaged in service to the Lord, this verse describes today, vritti sabhaviki tuya. Vritti means a natural inclination. Everyone has a vritti. The vritti, and it's swabhaviki, it's a natural. The natural inclination of everyone is animita bhagavati bhakti, to render service to the Lord, which is siddhir garishyasi, superior even to liberation. And so Jiva Goswami in Paramatma, in the Priti Sandarbha, is describing that, especially in this verse, this is referring to raganuga bhakti, or spontaneous attraction to the Lord. That spontaneous action of the senses directed toward the Lord is superior to liberation. And Jiva Goswami, he describes that, that by taking instructions from Guru, one attains this particular platform. So according to our Vedic philosophy, the Vedanta Sutta describes Anandamayo Bhyasat, that the nature of the living entity is they're looking for bliss. What is it? Every girl wants to have fun, or something like that. There's I don't remember. There's some song by some famous pop song singer like that. Every girl wants to have fun. Everybody's looking for some kind of bliss. But there's 4 basic types of ananda or bliss. The first is called Viṣayānanda. And that Viṣayānanda is described by Krishna in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where he says that type of happiness from the senses causes unlimited misery. And a wise person doesn't become attached to that Viṣayānanda. We'll give a simple example, that how many different ways can I give pleasure to my hand? I can take my hand to a movie, but the hand doesn't really get pleasure. It doesn't care what the movie's about. My hand doesn't get pleasure from the movie. I can eat something, and that gives some indirect strength to the hand, but the hand's not experiencing bliss or pleasure just from that eating factor either. What kind of happiness can I give to the hand? Well, I can rub it nicely. I can feel some sensory experience by touching it in a nice way. Okay, and maybe I can put it in warm water. There's different ways that I can experience some pleasure through the skin. All right? How many different ways can we experience pleasure through the skin? Maybe we can figure out 8 or 10 different ways. But how many different ways can my same hand suffer? Well, you can smash it with a baseball bat. I can pierce it with something. It can be stung by a wasp. I can get so many different types of disease. There's unlimited different types of disease. I can burn it with fire. I can get it sunburned. I can scorch it with hot water. I can freeze it with ice. There's practically unlimited ways this hand can suffer. Yehi samsparshaja boga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta kuntaya nateshu ramate Buddha. Therefore Krishna says that those persons who are Buddha, who are sober persons, they don't go for this Viṣayānanda because they understand it's all bogus. That in the beginning, you run and you call your friend on the phone. He said, I love you. Oh my God, I'm so happy. I've never been so happy in my whole life. And he's so handsome. And then, as we used to sing when I was a little child, Katie and Fred, anyway, there was a childish song that we used to sing. Sitting on a tree, Kissing. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes Fred pushing a baby carriage. So in the beginning is our childish song we used to sing. In the beginning is some romance. And it's just complete nectar. It's so wonderful and everybody's so happy and all the movies are about it and all the books are about it and the songs are about it. But that same happiness, later on, she realizes what a jerk he is. and that actually he doesn't really care about her at all. He just wanted to exploit her, which is the nature of Viṣaya or sensory happiness. And we could go on and on about this topic alone forever. I don't want to go further than that. But higher than that is the bliss of Brahmānanda. And there are some saintly persons who understand, they get some bliss from understanding the fact that we're not this body. And by restraining the senses and by focusing on some higher Brahman, they get some happiness. But Srila Prabhupada, he says there's something much, much higher than Brahmānanda. Well, first of all, there's Viṣayānanda, there's Brahmānanda. Then higher than Brahmānanda, the bliss of the impersonalists, is Premānanda, the ecstasy of love of God. But even there's another type of ecstasy, happiness, which is higher than Krishna Prem. What is that? And that is Sevānanda, when we're making garlands for the deity, when we're cooking for the devotees who are coming to our home. And Srila Prabhupada speaks about this Brahmānanda and Sevānanda in one lecture he gave in Bombay in 1972. He said a bhakta does not accept Brahmānanda. Brahmānanda is their liberation from the material ananda. But unless one is engaged in Sevānanda, service of the Lord, this Brahmānanda won't be sufficient to keep him in the spiritual world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes in his introductory verse to Kalyana Kalpatru, Brahmānanda Dikari Purnananda Rasalayam, that Krishna, who's Purnananda, who's complete Ananda, who's Rasalayam, who's completely full of nectar, that Purna Brahma Krishna is Brahmānanda Dikari. The happiness of serving that Krishna completely makes fun of. Dika means to mock. Dikari makes fun of that happiness of Brahman. And therefore Hanuman, as described, he offers this prayer, the great devotee Hanuman. He said, Bhava bandhachade taishyai sprihayami namuktaye bhavan prabhuraham dasa iti yatra vilupyate. He said, I don't want liberation or to merge in Brahman effulgence where the conception of being a servant of the Lord is completely lost. So Lynn, this was your question you were asking me about the nature of the soul. The soul's proclivity by nature is to render service. And without rendering service, there's no real happiness. And Hanuman here is addressing this point. He says that there's some kinds of liberation where I merge with the Brahman effulgence. And that's Brahmānanda. And that Brahmānanda is so ecstatic compared to this Viṣaya, which causes unlimited misery. Viṣaya meaning material happiness. But Hanuman says, I don't want that because I have something more. If I have that, then I'm going to lose the conception of being a servant of the Lord. There's so much happiness in being a servant of the Lord. Let's contemplate this some. In the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, we hear about the crushed jewel of the devotees of Krishna, the Braj Gopikas, and how they were lamenting when Krishna left Vrindavan. So why are they lamenting? Krishna only went to Mathura. Radhanath Maharaj, for many, many years before he became so big and famous, he would take a train to Mathura, get down at the train station and walk. It's about a 30-kilometer walk. He would walk to Vrindavan, barefoot, with great happiness and ecstasy. And his mind would reach Vrindavan long before his body would get there. So the gopis, what's the problem? Krishna's just 30 kilometers away. They can walk and see him. So why are they lamenting that Krishna's left Vrindavan? It's not that they're lamenting just because of his physical association. For that, they could have gone to Mathura. But they're lamenting because they missed rendering service to him. Now, they could also render service in Mathura, but there's not the same qualities in Mathura as there are in Vrindavan. In Mathura, there's no Jamuna River. Well, the Jamuna River is partly there, but there's no Vamsivat. There's no Vrindavan forest. There's no Govardhan Hill. There's no Shamakund and Radhakund. All of those things which serve the service of Krishna in the best way. So the gopis are lamenting actually because they wanted to serve Krishna. Similarly, it's said in Ram Leela that when Lord Ramachandra arrived at Viṣayānanda, Sugriva was a little paranoid. Sugriva was taking shelter of Viṣayānanda because his older brother Bali had been cursed by one rishi that he couldn't go to that place. And Bali was very angry with Sugriva. He wanted to kill Sugriva. So when Lord Ramachandra and Lakshman, his brother, arrived at Viṣayānanda, Sugriva was a little worried. Who are these two powerful-looking Kshatriyas? And so he sent Hanuman. You go and find out who this person is. And so Hanuman then, he took the form of a human, of a Brahmin. And Lord Ramachandra, seeing a Brahmin before him, was very respectful. And that Brahmin inquired, he said, my dear personality, I see you seem to be a very exalted person, a Kshatriya. Can you please tell me who you are? And Lord Ramachandra told him that I am the son of Dasarath. And then he asked that Brahmin, who are you? And when he asked that Brahmin began to cry. And he manifested his original true form of Hanuman. And he told him, you don't recognize your eternal servant? This is the happiness of Hanuman. It's described that in Ram Leela, Lakshman was doing all the different services for Lord Ramachandra. He was serving the Lord both in the battlefield, he was serving him in the political arena, he was serving him also doing household duties and things. He was coming and cleaning Lord Ramachandra's room, bringing water for his bath, and taking care of him in so many different ways. And then Lord Ramachandra got married. And Sita was there. And Sita also, she wanted the happiness of Sevānanda. She wanted to be able to serve Lord Ram. But there's this Lakshman. And Lakshman's there all the time doing all the services, cooking for Lord Ramachandra, cleaning the house and washing the clothes and doing everything. And so finally, Sita, she came to Lord Ramachandra. She bowed her head. She said, my dear Pati, my dear husband, this is not good. I also want Sevānanda. I also want service. Lakshman's doing everything. So then Lord Ramachandra, seeing that there's a problem going on in the household, and he has to make some peace, so he called for Lakshman, and he told him that now Lakshman, from now on, we're going to divide the services between the state affairs, fighting and things, which Sita's not very good at, and the household affairs. So Lakshman wasn't so happy about that, but what can he say? Later on, after Lord Ramachandra killed Ravan, and Hanuman and all the different Vanaras, the monkeys, they came to Ayodhya. Lord Ramachandra offered Hanuman a benediction. Lord Ramachandra was so very pleased with Hanuman. He said, no one can have a better servant than you. You've done so many things. It was Hanuman who consoled Sita. It was Hanuman who went to Sita when she was alone in the Ashok Van, the grove, where she was kidnapped and being kept captive by Ravan. And Hanuman spoke to her in a very gentle, expert way, and spoke to her about Lord Ramachandra in a way that she knew that actually he was a representative of Lord Ram. And then he offered Sita, he said, look, I'll take you back to Lord Ram right now. But Sita told him, no, I can't do this, because Lord Ram will be unhappy, because he wants to have the dignity, he wants the honor of killing Ravan himself. So then Hanuman said, okay. And then Hanuman thought, what else can I do? I've done all this service. I've done what my Lord told me. I found Sita. Now what else can I do? Oh, he decided, let me burn down Lanka while I'm here. And so Hanuman single-handedly fought against 80,000 Rakshasas there in Lanka. And he defeated all of them and burned the city of Lanka to the ground. It is such a service. And then he came back to tell Lord Ramachandra the words of Sita. And Lord Ramachandra cried and embraced him. So later in Ayodhya, Lord Ramachandra offered a benediction to Hanuman, and Hanuman began to cry. And he said, all that I want is service. And so Lord Ram said, Hanuman, whatever service you want. And so then Hanuman made a big list of all the different services. And there was nothing left for anyone else to do for Lord Ram, because Hanuman wanted to do all the services. I'll cook for you, I'll carry your shoes, I'll wash your clothes, I'll make your bed, I'll fight against the demons for you, I'll do everything for you. And Sita was a little unhappy about this, and she complained again to her husband. So Lord Ram again called for Hanuman, and again said, well, now we have to make some division of the services. And so he gave all the different services to different personalities. But Sita was not so happy, so Lord Ram said, okay, Sita, you decide. So then Sita gave all the services out with everybody, to everyone, but she didn't give any service to Hanuman. And then Hanuman started to cry. And then Hanuman, he had such a desire to serve the Lord. Krishna in the Gita says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam. When someone wants to serve me, I give them intelligence. And so Hanuman found this service, that every time Lord Ramachandra would yawn, because he was a little tired, that yawning in Vedic culture is considered to be an inauspicious sound. So when Lord Ram would yawn, then Hanuman would begin to play the Shanai, because the Shanai is kind of like a little trumpet. It's considered a very auspicious sound. So whenever Lord Ram would yawn, Hanuman would begin to play the Shanai. And so in this way, Hanuman, he said, but I have to stay with you 24 hours a day to do my service. And so Hanuman was there all night long in their bedroom with Sita and Ram. Sita wasn't very happy about that. Here she's uncomfortable. This male's in their bedroom and she can't be alone with her husband. And all night long, Hanuman's blowing on the Shanai every time Lord Ramachandra yawns. So again, she went to Lord Ramachandra and he said, look, this monkey, you got to do something with him. And so then Lord Ramachandra, wanting to keep peace in the household, he called for Hanuman and he said, okay, Hanuman, you stay outside the room. Now Hanuman has a problem. He can't see whether the Lord is yawning or not. And so Hanuman, Krishna gives intelligence, he just started playing the Shanai 24 hours a day, just in case Lord Ramachandra is going to yawn. And so again, Sita went to Lord Ramachandra. He said, this monkey, he's playing his Shanai 24 hours a day. I can't sleep. It's so obnoxious. Can you please tell him to stop? So then again, Lord Ramachandra stopped Hanuman from doing that service. A few days later, a strange thing happened. And Lord Ramachandra's mouth opened and it wouldn't shut. but he couldn't speak. And at that time, Sita became terrified. And she realized that this was because she stopped the service of Hanuman. So as we're reading in this verse in purport, all the senses are representatives of the demigods, and all those senses, ultimately, they're obeying the mind, which is representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so this service is the topmost thing, because this service can actually control the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So seeing what had happened, that Lord Ramachandra, he was completely controlled by the loving service attitude of Hanuman. He couldn't close his mouth anymore. Sita ran to Hanuman, and she got him to render service again. And then Lord Ramachandra's mouth became normal. So I'd like to continue this discussion about the importance of service and the very deep ramifications of it, and how service is better than salvation. How service is even better than the bliss of Prem, better than Premānanda. So we'll discuss this more starting tomorrow. And we're going to read from a very rare book called the Krishna Bhakti Rasa Kadamba, which is composed by one of the associates of Lord Nityananda, whose name was Nayananda Thakur. So we'll continue there. So I'm 4 minutes later than I wanted to be, but we're doing pretty good. Lynn says, poor Sita. Yes, poor Sita. She has a hard time. Women always have a hard time. Amrita's there. She's saying, when was Sita Mata with Lord Ram after their coming into association with Hanuman? After Ravan was killed. Then all the different monkeys, they came to Ayodhya along with Lord Ramachandra and Sita. And it's described that Lord Ramachandra was giving benedictions to everyone. And what do you want? And Sugriv, you could be the king, and I'll give you so much money and wealth and things. And Hanuman was hiding behind Lakshman during all this time. And why was he, he was hiding behind the son of Bali. What's the name of the son of Bali? Huh? Very powerful monkey. He was hiding behind him. And why was he hiding? Because Hanuman saw that Lord Ramachandra was giving benedictions to everyone, and you can have this kingdom, and you'll have this money, and now you go home. And he was sending everyone away. And Hanuman was thinking, I don't want to be sent away. I want to stay here and render service. So he was hiding. And finally, Lord Ramachandra said, where is Hanuman? I'm here. And Lord Ramachandra says, Hanuman, you please me so much. What do you want? And Hanuman began to cry. I just want to serve. I just want to serve you. But then he wanted all the services, and it was a problem. So this is after Sita and Lord Ramachandra came back from Ayodhya. Alex has written, it's really not the same to sit at home and just read books and then go out and distribute books. Although we know that the main service of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami is to read Bhagavatam all day long, how can we be satisfied with whatever services are available? Well, first of all, as indicated by Srila Prabhupada in his purport and extensively by Jiva Goswami in his commentaries, that service means to follow the instructions of Guru. Service means something which is done with love. How can I render loving service to Krishna? It's theoretical, because I don't know him, I've not met him. Until I meet him and have a relationship with him, all that service for Krishna is simply theoretical. But I know Krishna's devotees. I know my Gurudev. My Gurudev has appeared before me. My Gurudev is a manifestation of Krishna. He's Sevaka Bhagavan. He's the Lord who's come to render service. So when I render service to Gurudev, then I get so much happiness in my heart. And it's Gurudev who understands our adhikar, our qualification. And he may see that you don't have qualification to sit and read Srimad Bhagavatam all day like Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. Vaisheshika Prabhu once told me that, he said, and he was very serious, it was just the two of us sitting, and it was sincerity, just like a child. He said, you know, Madhavananda, he said, I could read Srimad Bhagavatam all day and just be satisfied. And he's not just saying that because he does it every year. He sits all day long during the month of Kartik And he just reads Srimad Bhagavatam. And he feels so happy doing that. But a lot of us, we would have a hard time with that, sitting and reading Bhagavatam all day long. And so Guru is there, and Guru Dev gives us some particular instruction. You go and you distribute books. You do something passionate. And there's a very nice comment here from Madhupati Prabhu. I'm very happy for you, my friend. Because Madhupati Prabhu, his desire is he likes to cook for the Lord. And he's saying after almost 3 months of lockdown, today I'm going to get to cook dinner for Doyle Nitai Vijay Gauranga. Wow. And he's so very, very happy. That's real happiness. But his happiness, if you don't mind me commenting, Madhupati Prabhu, I don't think it's only because of your personal relationship with Doyle Nitai Vijay Gauranga, who is so extraordinarily beautiful, and the devotees have so much love for them. But I know your happiness is there because you're rendering service to your Guru Maharaj. And your Guru Maharaj wants you to serve Doyle Nitai Vijay Gauranga. And so when we render service to Krishna through Gurudev, and then we're rendering service to Gurudev because Gurudev wants me to cook for the deities, Gurudev wants me to make a garland, then we get so very, very happy. It's more happiness. And Ashwin's asking, what is the verse that you chant at the beginning of Katha every day? That's a secret verse. Gora Graganya Gana Gocha Goloruharam. This is a verse which is composed by our dear friend Hari Parsha Prabhu, who's a very good Sanskritist and very good poet. It's a verse that he composed on my humble request and with some input from myself. And it's a prayer to my revered spiritual master. And it has a very deep purport to it, which would take us a whole class just to explain. But it's a verse glorifying our Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for your comments, Len. I hope this gave you some thoughts about this nature of the soul. Mani Gopal Prabhu is there. And he says, is it possible to get the text source? Well, Mani Gopal Prabhu, I don't know what text you're asking about, because we read from a lot of different things. Let me look back here and see. We were reading from Jiva Goswami's Priti Sandarbha. We were reading from Hari Bhakti Ratna Prakash, which is where this verse from Hanuman appears. We were reading from Kalyana Kalpataru, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Many different places we were reading, I don't know. Oh, maybe the story you're asking about Hanuman. This is a story I've heard from some sadhus. There's different stories. Sometimes we tell stories, and the stories may not be totally from Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, but Srila Prabhupada would even tell stories sometimes about personalities like, what's his name, Krishna Kunda, the comedian that Prabhupada told a story about, Charlie Chaplin. And it's certainly not a Shastric story. But Srila Prabhupada told the story because it served a philosophical point. And this particular story comes from one of the versions of Ramayana, and it was manifested the heart of some Vaishnava who had love for Lord Ramachandra. Amrita's asked, how was she with her Lord before she was rejected by him? How long, perhaps you're asking? That question I don't really know. It seemed like it was some time, though, a few years, that Sita was with Lord Ramachandra. And of course we know that that rejection was aparavichar, an apparent consideration, because Sita is the eternal consort of Lord Ramachandra. She's the Shakti of the Lord. There's no question of her ever being rejected by the Lord. But Lord Ramachandra is Maryada Purushottam. He is the topmost personality who follows Veda Maryada. And to teach us what it means to be a leader. A leader doesn't just mean that you get the maha plate and you get the garlands and everybody gives respect to you and you get to stand first in line for this and that. That's not just being a leader. But a leader means, Lord Ramachandra taught us, that you're serving the people. And the people come before your personal consideration. And so much so that the people even came before his love and affection for his eternal consort, Sita. An amazing thing. When he saw that this washerman was criticizing Lord Ramachandra when Lord Ramachandra's wife had been out all night long, then that washerman criticized her. I'm not going to let you back home. Don't think that I'm some wishy-washy husband like that Ramachandra. And Lord Ramachandra heard about that. And when he heard that, he saw, oh, they're not able to give proper respect to the leader. It's so important that people give proper respect to the leader. In America, people get so absorbed in politics. And I also watch things. And I was watching things with Mr. Obama. I've been watching things with Mr. Trump. And I don't personally hate either one of them or particularly love either one of them. I appreciate Mr. Obama probably more because of his character. Character is a very, very important thing. But one thing that I always look for is to see how much the people have faith in a leader. Because it's such a very, very important thing. And even if the leader may not have the best character, if people have faith in him and they can follow him, it's such an important principle. And we learn that principle in Ram Leela. How important it is for a leader to behave in a way that the people will have faith in. So much so that Lord Ramachandra even rejected his own eternal consort, Sita Devi. So I'm going to stop there. I'd like to see if the devotees here, I kind of doubt if you have any comments or reflections or anything. Want to talk about garlands, anything? Okay, so we'll be here again tomorrow, and we'll continue this discussion again tomorrow about the superiority of service to liberation. Krishna Kun?
It's just amazing for me.
Oh, hold on a second.
No, I can't. No comment.
Okay, no comments. Hare Krishna. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha, Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha, Patitanam